Okay, so the lab kit for chemistry 130. So when you open up the box, you're gonna have a bunch of things in here, and I'm gonna go through everything that's inside this box that you're gonna need. Main things to remember are to never throw anything away. Please follow all of the instructions from your lab. Your lab manual will include everything that you're gonna do, when you're gonna use it, and how you're gonna be using it. Right now I'm just going to walk through everything that's inside the box. So first thing to notice is that you are going to have a bunch of papers. First one is a little booklet that goes over generally most of the items that you have in here, as well as how to properly maintain them. Here's a little notice that essentially says that instead of the 600 milliliter beaker, you will be receiving a 1000 milliliter beaker. It shouldn't affect anything with your experiments. It's just going to be a larger beaker than normal. You're also going to get graphing paper, so make sure to keep that. You're going to be using it for a few of your labs. And more importantly, this is your items list for your chemistry kit. First thing you're going to find is a bag of gloves. So these you're going to be using every time you conduct an experiment. And again, when you do end up using these gloves, make sure you properly dispose of them. More information will be included in your chemistry lab videos or your chemistry lab instructions. Okay, inside this bag, toothpicks, inoculation loop, pH test strips, some matches, and your test tube clamp. Okay, so I put everything back in the bag. And just a point of reminder, every time when you're going through your test kit, double check that you have all the right amount of items next to each listed item. So for example, test tube clamp, there's only one. Inoculation loops that I just showed, there are 4. So please go ahead and double check all of these as you're going through them. Next is a pH meter. So this you will be using to measure the actual pH of different chemicals and compounds. Gonna have coloring pencils, styrofoam cup. This is a plastic beaker, which is 250 milliliters. All of these beakers, please remember to never heat them up. They're all plastic and they will melt, except for the largest one, which is made out of glass and wrapped in bubble. In here are two glass test tubes. Again, these are bubble wrapped, so please be careful with these. They can break. Okay, next item, your ideal gas law test experiment kit. So try to keep everything within the bag. Don't open them up unless you have to, which ideally is going to be when you're actually conducting the experiment. But again, feel free to look up all the items that are included in here and double check them with the included items list. Next is disposable bags. So everything that you're going to dispose of are all going to go in this bag. Don't throw it away until the very end. These are your measuring boats. So whenever you have to measure a specific amount of powder or any sample items, you're going to place them in here and measure them using this electric scale, digital scale. Okay, 2 graduated cylinders are in here, as well as a metal spatula, which you can see buried in there. Next, these are a couple candles. In here, chemical reaction kit. Again, a lot of items that are on here are all going to be listed. Specifically, something to note here is the flammability and reactivity numbers. So these tell you how hazardous these items are. Please keep them in the bags. Do not use them until you have to. It's a protractor. Leave this item for last. It's a thermometer. Keep it inside this plastic container. It is glass and it can break as well. So if you keep it inside this plastic container, it'll last you a lot longer. Ruler. Safety glasses. Always wear your safety glasses before conducting any experiment. No matter how safe you think an experiment is, always wear glasses. It's always good practice, especially if there are chemicals involved. Your plastic pipettes. I think this goes without saying, but do not heat up any of your plastic pipettes. They will melt. Next are 6 100 milliliter beakers. All of these are plastic as well, so do not heat them. Do not place them against anything that is hot. Have another Play-Doh and another small container, which is 50 milliliters. Lastly, here are a couple of absorbing cloths that you can put throughout that you can use throughout your experiment. All of what these plastic cloths will do is that they will absorb any spills, any chemical that end up falling off of your beakers. This will save your surface, so if you're using a table, it'll make sure that the table is not being contaminated and you don't have any residual chemicals spilled over. So use them. You can reuse these multiple times, but please keep them in a safe place where children can't get to them. And then this is the last item I wanted to go over. These are more chemicals, except these are not powdered. These are all liquid. So please keep them in their respective containers. Do not mix them and do not touch them with your bare hands. A lot of these chemicals are very hazardous. They can lead to chemical burns. So only handle them while using gloves and using a proper equipment. Follow your lab guide, your lab manuals, and keep them inside this box for safekeeping. And that is everything included inside your lab kit.